Do you feel like you've had a panic attack right out of the blue for no reason, and now that panic attack stops you from doing anything just in case you should have another one?
Or do you have fears, anxieties, OCDs, and you just haven't got a clue why? We would like to share with you our tried and tested technique to help.
There's nothing worse than not knowing why you do what you do, why you think how you think, and it's just that kind of confusion. It's like, why do I feel this way? Well, we developed a great little technique that we use and we've shared with lots of people, and it is great at finding those origins of those anxieties, OCDs, panic attacks, anxiety, negative behaviours.
What is it? It's a timeline. You see, if you deal with those behaviours, those are symptoms. The way to get rid of those symptoms altogether is to find the cause and eradicate it. The best way of doing that is a timeline. So, Eva, here we go.
All you need is a piece
Blank
of paper.
piece of paper and a pen. First thing you need to do is draw 2 lines down the centre. The purpose of the 2 lines is for you to put in the age of the memory.
So, we'd start that from birth, so that would be 0. And we'll just use me as an example to present day and how old you are now. I'll put 21.
As if. We're being serious here, Eva, come on. Anyway, on the left side, you put positive events that have happened in your life. And on the right side, you put negative events that have happened in your life. Some for examples, Eva?
So your positives might be passing your driving test, passing an exam, maybe getting some sort of distinction or certificate at school. Your negatives, however...
Meeting me if it was you, obviously.
Obviously. Getting engaged, getting married, those are all your positives. But your negatives are going to be things like grief, having your heart broken, being bullied, maybe being judged, somebody saying something about you, you saying something and feeling embarrassed, time where you felt traumatised, scared, vulnerable. These are all the kind of things that you're going to note on your negative column there.
And the things that you have on the negative side, then what you need to do is score them out of 10. What we mean by that, 10 on a disturbance scale, if you think about that memory, out of 10, how bad does that make you feel? If it's over a 7 out of 10, then it's something that's still affecting your behaviour today and something that needs working on.
You see, we know that your thoughts create your feelings. So if you can still feel, for example, 7, 8, 9, 10 out of 10 disturbance for something that might have happened 5, 15, 20 years ago, then that would suggest that is still affecting you in the here and now. And you might not even realise just how much that affects you or what kind of effect it might be having on the present day, because we've come across so many people that have had an experience and they don't realise that that is actually the origin of their anxieties, OCDs, panic attacks, fears and phobias.
Once you've gone through your timeline and you're looking at the negative events, and one thing some people say, well, but what are you looking for? Compartmentalise your life so you can go from birth to preschool.
Yeah.
And then from preschool to the end of primary school, and then primary school, senior school, and so on. And looking at those compartments in life, then you can find the events. And it's important then to go through anything that scores over on a negative scale over 7 out of 10, because you will be surprised how those events are affecting your future.
You see, because we know our thoughts create our feelings, your job now is to go through each event and changing your perspective into a positive, so something that you learn. Maybe you misunderstood, but you need to go through each event changing your perspective. Now, if you're struggling with that, do take a look around our YouTube channel, because we've got lots of films for lots of different conditions, and we're going to be adding more, and you will see for yourself the kind of examples that we will give to help change perspective positively. Now also in our book, which I'll show you here,
if you want more in-depth detail on a timeline and what to do around it, we cover that in our book,
this is
Conquering
our
Anxiety.
book, Conquering Anxiety, in which we also share our 5-step formula. Now, even if there's something on your timeline on that negative column that you just think, well, I'm not sure how that could possibly affect me today, still work on it. Still work on changing your perspective positively. Because, I mean, how would you ever think that a fairground ride, for example, could make somebody agoraphobic? but we've actually come across that with a lady who had a bad experience at the age of 5 on a fairground ride, and that led to a fear of heights and a fear of all transport and claustrophobia. So eventually her world became that small.
So it was a safe place, we're staying at home.
Yeah. And then we had another person who actually said that they had no clue how their issue started because one day they randomly, on a lovely holiday, had a panic attack whilst having a little wander across the beach with their girlfriend and just did not understand it. Now, because it felt like that panic attack came out of the blue, he started to protect himself and stopped going out and also got agoraphobia.
Yes, but in doing a timeline, discovered actually the problem was a fishing trip many years earlier where there was an issue with the boat and it just sat there. But actually, being on the sand dunes and seeing the ocean triggered the panic attack because of the previous trip.
So write a timeline. Write it positives and negatives. Make sure you keep looking at those positives, by the way, and keep adding to them for every time you deal with one of the negatives. So you're writing your timeline, you're going to score it, and then you're going to start with the earliest, working through one at a time, changing your perspective positively on each event, and then rescoring. And again, if you're struggling, you need a few tips, you need to have some ideas on changing those perspectives. Do subscribe to our channel for lots of new films. Do look around because there's lots more on there. And don't forget that in our book, Conquering Anxiety, we also share our 5-step formula and how to go through your timeline.
But please be assured, whatever you've been told, you can get better.